Well, hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. For those of you who are joining me live, welcome to the show. And if you're catching me on replay, it's great to have you as well. Today's Wednesday, which for those of you who are following me on Twitter, typically today is the day of our tweet chat, but we are not going live on the tweet chat today. So instead, I thought, why not come and do a little live streaming with you instead? Let's get started.
Welcome to Level Up with Winnie Sun. Market update. Speed round. Award-winning financial pro. And now, get ready. I present to you Level Up with Winnie Sun.
Hello, friends. Happy Wednesday. Happy first week of August. Wow, time is flying by. I hope you're enjoying your summer. For those of you who are brand new to the show, welcome. I am Winnie Sun, your host, as mentioned, award-winning financial pro, a Forbes contributor, and a CNBC Council member. And we are absolutely streaming live today on over 6 different social media platforms. So definitely jump in, come in, say hello. I'd love to hear where you're joining me from. Are you joining me from home, from work? And how's your summer doing? Just love to see it. I see a lot of friends joining on all the different platforms today. So thanks so much for joining us. All right. So for those of you who have been to the show before, you know how we like to kick it off, and that's to tell you how the market has either closed or performed. And currently, the market is still open. And this is where we're at. Unfortunately, pretty bleak numbers. The Dow is currently down 244 points. The Nasdaq is down even heavier at 279 points in the negative, and the S&P 500 is also negative, down over 50 points as well. So we'll catch up and see how the market does as we close up this show and see if things get better. Sometimes they do. But let's talk about why the market is down so heavily, because literally just the last 2 weeks, it was relatively not only calm, but actually we had some really nice positive numbers coming out of the Dow. Well, no big surprise here, but there's a credit agency or a rating agency, if you will, and they basically give ratings to different types of companies and organizations in terms of their credit quality. And this is Fitch. Fitch Ratings unfortunately downgraded the United States' long-term foreign currency issuer default rating to an AA plus, which probably doesn't sound that bad to you, but it came down from the AAA rating, which is the highest rating that you can have. So US now, unfortunately, has been downgraded. This downgrade was attributed to sort of expected fiscal deterioration, they say, over the next 3 years. This was a quote that came from them: an erosion of governance and a growing general debt burden here in the United States. So Fitch also cited that repeated debt limit political standoffs, like with the debt ceiling, last minute resolutions that have really eroded confidence in fiscal management in terms of US debt. So the US stock futures opened much lower after the agency rating issued that downgrade. So as you see, the Dow now is down more than 200 points. Nasdaq also down over 200 points. But this is not a complete surprise, because just a few months ago, I think it was in May, Fitch actually already put the US AAA rating on negative watch due to the debt ceiling issues that we had in Washington during that time. And as you know, a lot of this is political standoff. The two political parties going to the last minute before coming to a deal. Well, that doesn't bode very well for the confidence of US debt. So that's what's happening. So you're seeing some negativity. Hopefully things will get better. But right now, the White House has issued a statement that they absolutely disagree with Fitch's downgrade. And they're saying that this defies reality given the strong economic recovery that we're currently seeing under the Biden administration. But do know, this is not the first time U.S. debt has been downgraded, though. This is not like a one-time thing. In fact, the U.S. Standards and Poor's downgraded US's credit rating from AAA to AA plus in 2011 also due to political risk concerns. So, that just goes to show you political conflict doesn't just impact, right, the rule of law and everything else, but it also can heavily impact our finances here and also your retirement savings and everything else. So, it is what it is. Let's hope that things get better sooner rather than later, but it'll be something we'll continue to keep a close eye on. But now I want to segue over to another story that's been in the headlines for the last few weeks. In fact, there's been a lot of people involved in this here in California, and I know many other states as well. And this is what's going on in Hollywood. In fact, Netflix is actively recruiting artificial intelligence specialists now, despite ongoing historic strikes in Hollywood against the U.S. The sort of the use of AI technology in the entertainment space. Well, Netflix is like, well, we're gonna go all in. I mean, I just feel like the timing on this isn't great from Netflix. But a lot of entertainment professionals are saying that we want to keep our jobs. Don't replace what we do, whether it be writing or other duties, with AI technology and robotics and whatnot. Well, Netflix, the streaming video giant, is now looking to hire a product manager for its machine learning platform. And get this, the total compensation is bananas. Bananas in a big way, because they're offering compensation in the range of 300,000 to 900,000 for someone who can come in and be product managing its machine learning platform. They're also seeking a senior software engineer with an annual income of between 100 to 700,000, and then also a machine learning scientist with a total pay between 150 to 750,000. Very big numbers during this entertainment strike, if you will. So that's what's happening. You may have seen many celebrities have gone out to strike with the writers. Writers obviously concerned that AI tools will be replacing their jobs, but now Netflix is offering big money for AI machine learning experts and technology, and it just kind of gives you an idea if this is happening in Hollywood in entertainment, what other industries could this come into play? Are you in an industry that you are concerned that AI or robotics could replace, maybe not right away, but in the near future? And I see Sadiq joining. Thank you so much, Sadiq, joining us on YouTube Live. Sadiq is saying that he supports SAG AI and everybody. Yeah, I think it's SAG our AI. And so we'll see. But I do think here's the thing. With technology, we saw this with the internet, we saw this with the computer, we saw this with the smartphone. We might be able to slow down adoption of this technology in a specific space, right? For a short term. But I think long term, as the technology improves and evolves, it's going to be very difficult to continue to slow that down, even with strikes and, decisions not to show up to work and whatnot. So we got to get to a point where we can work together and come together and still find value. And perhaps it means that those jobs which were replaced by technology, other opportunities need to become available as well, so they can continue to support their own families and themselves, right? So we'll see how that unfolds, but that's a really interesting story. I know SAG-AFTRA and WGA have centered on the use and control of AI generated content and the likeness rights for like background performers. But a lot of media outlets, even Disney, have shown interest in employing generative AI, which is going to just raise broader concerns about its potential impact on a lot of industries. Now, this includes journalism, video game development, even photographers in the creative industry. Many of those jobs are looking at, there's a lot of AI related technology coming about that is supposed to be designed to make that work a lot easier. Easier today, could be replaced in the future. So we don't know. But the push for AI related roles at Netflix indicates that this is definitely coming. The streaming giant's commitment to technological advancements and its belief in the value of machine learning in shaping the future of content delivery and production in its industry. And if Netflix is going to do it, many other studios and creative companies and industries will continue as well. So a story that we'll definitely continue to watch very, very closely. And I see Joshua, I see CrossX Fighter joining us on YouTube Live. I am doing great. I'm even happier that you just walked in the door. So welcome to the show. And if you're watching us live as well, come and introduce yourself, just like Sadiq and Joshua did. We would love to see where you are joining in from, and we always like to see you here. So thank you so much for making the time. All right, so I feel like we haven't brought you a Twitter story in a bit, or AKA X. So we got to do that, right? So big news out of this week, quite a bit of X news or Twitter news or Elon Musk news. Well, remember how Twitter just recently rebranded to X? Elon Musk is rebranding their company to X. They put this huge glowing X on the top of the Twitter building in San Francisco. You might actually see, hopefully, Chris will show you a visual of this, but this was known as X. Okay, so their new company known as X. Well, get this. They have now had to remove this X from the top of the city building because it received 24 complaints about its very intrusive lights. So I guess people weren't as concerned about, Twitter bird and being blue. It's very cute, right? But now they took that off and put a big, bold X. Now, this X logo, and you can see now, was put up on the roof of the company's downtown San Francisco headquarters, followed by an announcement from Elon Musk, the company's owner, if you will, not CEO anymore, but owner, that the firm would remain in the city despite concerns that perhaps they were going to leave San Francisco. But building inspectors observed the structure being dismantled, and the property owner will be assessed fees for the unpermitted installation of this very, very large X. Now, locals in San Francisco area are recording videos of this giant X glowing, pulsing, strobing, with some saying that it's just so intrusive, very intrusive lights. And they're calling it a danger and a clown show because it's so distracting. City officials have now been called in, and now they're investigating the X since last year after a complaint that allegedly converted rooms in its headquarters to sleeping quarters. And they even accused Elon Musk of spreading misinformation following the very high profile killing of the tech founder Bob Lee. So let's just say that San Francisco and Elon Musk right now, they're not breaking bread. They're not hanging out right now. They're not best friends. So we'll see how long Elon keeps X in San Francisco, because we know when he's not happy, things can change really rapidly as well. But the company and its owner have become now, so the company, which is X, and the owner of the building, I think, have become a growing headache for city officials, leading to perception of more like issues. So we'll see. But that's not all. If that was it for Twitter drama, that would be a pretty short story. No. There's more. You see, X Corporation, again, formerly known as Twitter, now has also filed a lawsuit. Get this. Are you sitting down, Sadiq? Joshua, this is interesting. So they're filing a lawsuit, or they have filed a lawsuit against the Center for Countering Digital Hate, or CCDH for short. They're accusing this British nonprofit of unlawfully assessing data and selectively picking posts to show a rise in hate speech on Twitter X after Elon Musk's buyout. Based on the CCDH's research, which was published in June, raising concerns about hate speech on Twitter, including its failure to act on hate speech posted by users, and whether Twitter's new system and technology actually boosts toxic tweets. Yeah. So because of it, he's suing them. So X is seeking a jury trial, unspecified monetary damages, and they want to block CCDH and any of its collaborators from accessing data provided by X to social media listening platform Brandwatch. So this lawsuit follows a letter that was sent from X, Elon's company, to CCDH alleging false or misleading assertions about Twitter and the conspiracy to drive advertisers off their platform. They're saying this is, obviously damaging to their business. So Elon Musk, who, as you know, is the CEO of Tesla, SpaceX, and now the principal owner of Twitter, has presented himself as the free speech advocate, but his actions, as many of you know and have witnessed, including suing critics and suspending Twitter accounts that he doesn't agree with, doesn't like, have raised contradictions. And CCDH's founder and CEO, Imran Ahmad, sees this lawsuit as an attempt to silence research efforts on hate and disinformation spreading on the platform under Elon Musk's ownership. So that will be interesting. Yet another soap opera coming out of Twitter X. I think we're going to follow that pretty closely. Who knows? If it's a jury trial, will they put it on TV? That could be really popular programming. Maybe Elon will even try to put it on Twitter X's video streaming so everybody can see. I wouldn't count that out for sure. All right. Now, speaking of things that are just kind of like, wow, like a little crazy, but here's something that you might think is crazy because a lot of people think this is crazy. Do you feel like tipping here in the United States is getting out of control? Tipping, when you go to a restaurant and you tip, when you get your haircut and you tip, maybe even when you're in line getting donuts and they ask you to tip. Do you agree that tipping is out of control here in the United States? I want to hear from you. So if you're watching me, definitely jump in and let me know. Because there's a recent study that came out that showed that 35% of Gen Zers are aged 18 to 26, that they always tip at sit-down restaurants compared to 40% of millennials and 67% of Gen Xers. And I actually think that number, I don't know if Gen Zers are 18 to 26. I think millennials are aged 18 to 26. Anyway, that could be, that could just be wrong there. But anyhow, 35% of Gen Zers, which we know are our youngest generation that we're sort of talking about a lot of, and the millennials, 40%, 67% of Gen Xers. So Gen Xers or older tend to tip more. So it's kind of like the older generation, I guess, is tipping more, and the younger generation are tipping less. Gen Zers also are less likely to tip for things like hairdressers, haircuts, hairstylists. In fact, only 24% of them always tip. And when they get food delivered, only 31% of the time they always tip. And using ride sharing like Uber or taxi, 22% always tip. So it looks like the next generation, the younger generation, is preferring to tip less because that's obviously less than a quarter of them are tipping. Then that's pretty clear that they feel that it's not necessary, or maybe just they feel like it's too much of an expense. Now, the only exception for this is Gen Zers would most likely always tip. More than other generations is kind of on home repairs. But I wonder like how many Gen Zers actually own homes. So maybe that, is something like, well, if I own a home, then I would tip. So that information I thought was kind of interesting too. But 2/3 of Americans have a very negative or have a negative view of tipping. In fact, 1 in 3 think tipping control is out of control. Now, I will say this. I personally think that that tipping is out of control as well. And the reason I say that is because, yes, I do think it's important to tip at restaurants, your hairstylist, many places, right? Especially in the service industry, tipping is important. But I do think there are certain places, like my example of like picking up donuts now, like literally you'll go to a place and they literally get the item, give it to you, and you walk away and they turn the screen and ask you to tip. I don't know if that I feel that that's like reasonable. Like I that's to me that's kind of like you going to the gas station and filling your tank up and them asking you to tip. Because I guess what I want to know is where is the I feel like the tip is supposed to go to a server, and so you're saying the person who took my order, I'm supposed to tip that person up to like 20, 30%. I don't know about that, right? I guess that's a question I have for you. How do you feel about that? Do you feel that that's the case? In fact, they're saying even on some kiosks at certain retailers that you're doing self checkout and they're asking you if you want to tip. So many respondents are just saying that companies should pay their employees better instead of relying on tips to support them. This is like 41%. And they're just thinking that there needs to be some sort of balance. And I would agree with this. As someone who has traveled a lot, right? I know in Europe, tipping is not a thing. If you want to, that's great. If you leave $1 or $2, great. But they are the employees are well served, well paid, or paid fairly, I should say. I'm hoping they are. And it's built in the price of doing business, the things that you pay for. And many countries, tipping is not a thing. It's just sort of built into the price of what you pay. So research indicates that digital tipping prompts can lead to higher tip rates, but some customers just refuse to tip for fast food and self-serve situations. So I'm curious to see how you feel about that. And I do think that puts employees in a kind of a difficult situation too, because when they're evaluating opportunities and pay, like if one place does get tips and the other place doesn't get tips, like even if the tips are smaller or inconsistent, is that even fair? Like it's hard. I guess I would be hard. Joshua says, I don't tip often because I don't usually give advice to anyone. Okay, that's an interesting point of view. All right, so let's move on. And this is a story that I want to share with you because I thought this was interesting. And this is coming out of New York City. I really love to share stories with you that I feel like is going to be starting a trend and maybe something for us to kind of pay attention to that might trickle down to all of us. Well, this is happening in New York City and it's called Skip the Stuff. This is what they're calling. So New York City Skip the Stuff law takes effect as of just a couple days ago on July 31st. So it's already out there. It's now New York City. If you go visit New York City, or if you're in New York City, it's already skipped the stuff. And what that means that they are now adding takeout restrictions. Takeout, like takeout food and stuff like that. So food service establishments in New York City can no longer provide you utensils, condiment packets, napkins, extra containers to take out or delivery customers unless requested. So I guess that's the key. You got to request it. Because I would think that, many times, like if you're a tourist and you travel to New York City and you're getting takeout, you might not have utensils. I think that's something that we had here in California too, because I think we can no longer be offered straws. We have to ask for straws if we want a straw. But customers will need to prepare if they require utensils or sauces, as they won't be automatically provided. So you got to remember to ask, or you got to obviously bring your own. There might be surcharges for these items when requested, though. So if you do ask for a fork or a napkin, you might get charged for that. This legislation will be enforced through the routine inspections by the New York City Department of Sanitation and the New York City Department of Consumer and Worker Protection. And get this, there will be fines if you are a restaurant and you violate this starting in July 2024. So I guess right now it's like you just don't do it, but if you do it, you won't get penalty. But starting a year from now, if you still do it, there will be penalties. This law is aiming to reduce landfill waste and help restaurants cut unnecessary costs, given that I guess over 320 million tons of plastic is consumed are consumed globally annually, and with most plastic only used once. And a small percentage of that is recycled. So I don't know if you've ever seen this thing called a spork or utensils. honestly, I feel like chopsticks are the most perfect utensils. If you know how to use them, I literally can use chopsticks for everything. They're so convenient and they're easy to travel with, right? But anyhow, but like I know many people with camping, they carry utensils with them, right? But this might be a thing. It might become like so they can reduce single use plastic, which is probably a really good thing for it's a very good thing for the environment. And I will tell you, as someone who lives in California, where they don't offer straws and a lot of things, they're trying to decrease a lot of the plastic that we use here as well. I think it's a good thing. You just get used to it and it doesn't really bother you that much. So, but if you're going to visit New York, do know that's going to happen. And who knows? Maybe you'll see this in more parts of the United States. So it's probably something we'll just want to get used to again. All right. So yeah, Joshua, yes, they will be charging you for using napkins. Napkins are paper though, right? So like, I wonder if you can make an exception for napkins. But what are you supposed to do then? I mean, you would have to buy your own tissues and napkins for that, which I agree with you. I think that with restaurants, I feel like they should offer napkins at least because it's like, especially you get fast food, it's like it can be kind of dirty, especially when a really good hamburger, like an In-N-Out burger. I don't know. Anyhow, let's check in with the market before we close off here. Okay, currently the Dow is down 283 points. Actually, that went deeper. Ugh, and NASDAQ went down even more so too. NASDAQ down 300 points currently. And the S&P 500 is also down lower currently as well, down 58 points. But the market will be open for a couple more hours. Let's hope that that improves a little bit. But it is what it is. One of those days. It's a Wednesday. But I'll be coming back to you tomorrow. So hopefully things will get a little bit better at that point. Thank you so much, my esteemed audience, Joshua, Sadiq, everybody for tuning in, jumping in, saying hello. Thank you so much for being here for Level Up. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and subscribe. And if you share it on social media, make sure to tag at Winnie Sun so I can properly thank you on a future show. And you can always watch full episodes of Level Up with Winnie Sun on NASDAQ, Amazon Fire, Samsung, LG, Roku, and many other streaming platforms. And you can check out Yes Factor with Winnie Sun also on Apple Podcasts and the LinkedIn Podcast Network. With that, thank you so much for your support, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Take care. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye now.